Okay, Algebra 3 and Trig, welcome back. Today we're going to be factoring again. We are going to be factoring trinomials of the type x squared plus bx plus c, and of course instead of pluses there can also be minuses. So some trinomials can be factored into the product of two binomials, meaning like two sets of parentheses, with each of them having a binomial in it. To do this, the rule is, it says we find factors of the last term that add or subtract to the coefficient of the middle term. In other words, the phrase I use is pick two numbers that multiply to get c and add up to get b. I'll repeat that. Pick two numbers that multiply to get b, or multiply to get c and add up to get b. So let's start off, and by the way, we do have a reminder here. Sometimes we have to check to see if we have common factors first to see if we can pull out a GCF. So let's take a look at example 3. We're going to factor this easy trinomial. So what are the signs? Well, obviously they're x plus and x plus because there's no minus signs in this problem. And we need two numbers that multiply to get 6 and add up to get 5. Can you think of those now? Very easy. 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6, which is the C term, and 2 plus 3 is 5, which is the B term. Okay. We're going to up the difficulty a little bit for letter B. So I'm checking, do I have a common factor here? Yes, I do. Of those three terms, all of them have an x in it. So I am actually going to start off this problem with a GCF. So your GCF of the three terms is x to the second power. We learned previously that when you have a greatest common factor of variables, the rule is you're supposed to take the smallest exponent. So if my exponents are 4, 3, and 2, the smallest one is x. So my GCF must be x squared. So remember, after that you have one set of parentheses, and you must carefully divide everything by your GCF, which is x squared, because you need to determine what's left over when you factored out that x to the second power. Now remember, when we're dividing the exponents, what are we really doing? You're actually supposed to be subtracting the exponents. So x to the fourth divided by x to the second is x to the second, and then minus, the 6 drops down. X to the third divided by x to the second is x to the first. And then in the third one, plus 8 carries down, and the x squareds cancel each other off. 2 minus 2 is 0, meaning there's no more x. Okay, so after that, take a careful look of what's in the parentheses here. We have what we learned on the previous problem A, where we have a trinomial. So I'm going to break this up into two binomials. And by the way, I am going to bring down my GCF. And I need two numbers that multiply to get 8, but add up to get -6. Now, I need to be a little careful here with sign rules. Now, my signs, two numbers that multiply to get C, let me rephrase that. When the C term is a plus, that means the signs are the same. Then I could look at the B, and since the B is a minus, they're both the same, minus, minus. So two numbers that multiply to get 8 and add up to get 6 are 2 and 4. And then you're done there. Now, if you need to remember, if you're kind of forgetting your sign rules, just type in trinomial, like YouTube, trinomial sign rules. Some of you remember them, some of you don't. If you don't remember, just go to YouTube now or Google and just type in trinomial sign rules, and it'll give you a refresher on that. Okay, let's go on to letter C. I'm checking for a common factor. Do I have anything that's common to all three of those terms? Yes, I do. No, I don't. No, I don't. So x is not common to all three of them. Y is not common to all three of them. So I do not have a GCF here. So I can go, even though it looks complicated, it's actually so much easier than it looks. So the x squared in the beginning, of course, just like the previous two problems, or especially in letter A, breaks up into x and x. So x to the second breaks up as x and x. Now your sign rules, look at the C term. The C term's a minus sign. When the C term is a minus, your signs are supposed to be plus minus. When the C is a minus, your signs are plus minus. Now, the 12, let's ignore the y squared for now. Let's just talk about the 12. I need two numbers with different signs that multiply to get negative 12 and add up to get 1. Now, since they are different signs, you can kind of phrase this a little bit differently. Like you can say, okay, what are two numbers that multiply to get 12 but subtract to get 1? So if you think about it like that, it might make more sense. Now, if you can't think of any, list your factors like 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and you can easily see, whoa, there's my pair. That subtracts to get the 1, the B term. So the signs, which gets the plus and which gets the minus? Well, think about it like this, if you have negative 3 plus 4 or 3 minus 4, which one comes out to be a plus 1? Well, do the math in your head. That would be 1. That would be negative 1. So it would be this guy here. So therefore, the negative must be with the 3. The plus must be with the 4. Now, going back to that y squared, since it has a y squared at the end, it's very similar to how the x squared is in the beginning. If x squared in the beginning broke up as x and x, then y squared at the end will break up into y and y. And they just get attached to your numbers that you just found. Okay, so we got some other trinomials here. These are trinomials where a is not equal to 1. I'm going to skip those. We're not going to worry about it. If we have to hit it some other time, we will. But I just want to focus on the easier trinomials today, where a is equal to 1. In other words, the invisible one's not showing. So let's go down to the assignment. So there are 9 problems here that are easy trinomials. I'm going to go over about half of them for you. I'll hit up the evens so that you guys can hit up the odds. All right, so number 2. So I go, okay, x squared breaks up into x and x. And by the way, in my head, I did do a simple check for common factors. I did it super fast. There are no common factors here. Now, my sign rules, again, we can look at the C term first. When the C term is a plus, that means they're both the same. So then we can look at the B term and go, well, if they're both the same, they're both minus minus. And then real easy, what are two numbers that multiply to get 12 and add up to get 8? Those numbers would be 2 and 6. Very easy there. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. So there are no common factors, so let's go to my two binomials. T squared breaks up into t and t. And I look at the C term first to determine my signs. What are the signs supposed to be when the C is a minus? When the C is the minus, the signs are always plus minus. Now, when they're plus minus, I need two numbers that multiply to get 15 and add up to get 2. What are they? Or they can subtract to get negative 2, I should say. Well, let's list the factors of 15. 1 times 15 and 3 times 5. Well, it would be this pair here, because they subtract to get my b term, -2. But I have different signs in my parentheses. I got a plus and a minus. So would it be a +3 minus 5, or would it be a -3 plus 5? Let's see what those guys add up to. That would be -2. That would be 2. We don't want that, though. We need the b term being -2. So there's my combination here. I need a plus in front of the 3 and a minus in front of the 5. Moving on to letter 6, I'm looking for common factors. I do have a common factor here. What is common to all three of these terms? It's the letter y. So we are going to have a GCF here of y. Remember, it's the smallest exponent, which is the y at the end. So then I'm going to carefully divide everything by y. So y to the third divided by y is y squared. Remember, we're subtracting the exponents when we divide them. Bring down your -9. Then the y squared divided by y is y. And then carry down the +14. The y would cancel there. No more y with the 14. So now what's left over in the parentheses is an easy trinomial. So let's break that up into two binomials. Don't forget to bring your GCF down into your answer, though. That is very important. GCFs will always be copied down and dragged down to your answer. All right, so y squared gets broken up as y and y. Now, what are my sign rules going to be here? Remember, we look at the c term first. So the c term is a plus, so they're both the same. Then we look and go, if they're both the same, what are they? Then look at the b and go, they're minus, minus. So again, a simple way is understanding the concept of this. Remember, we do need two numbers that multiply to get positive and 14 and add up to get -9. I mean, obviously those two numbers have to be negatives. That's multiplication rules. So what two numbers multiply to get 14 and add up to get 9? Your two numbers should be 2 and 7. Okay, let's try another one. This will be my last one, then you guys will be good to go on the odd numbers. Do I have a common factor here? Well, I got 2, 2, and 24. Definitely a common factor of GCF. We're starting this off with a GCF, and it's 2. And do I have anything else that's common to those three terms? Well, definitely x. Look how all three terms has x's in them. X to the third, x to the second, and x. We go with the smallest one here. So my GCF is 2x. Now put one set of parentheses for now. Remember, GCF gets one set. And now we're going to divide everything by my GCF. This is called factoring out. We are factoring out a GCF. So here, 2's cancel, become 1. X to the third divided by x is x to the second. So there's your 1x to the second. Then bring down your minus sign. The 2's cancel here also. X to the second divided by x is x. And then that y carries down. And then minus 24 divided by 2 is 12. The x's are identical, so you cancel them out. And then y to the second carries down. Now, do we need to go further here? Of course. We're learning about trinomials today. Look in that parentheses. You have an easy trinomial. It looks complicated. It's pretty easy, though. So let's bring down our GCF. Let's go down to two binomials. Break it up as usual. X squared gets broken up as an x and x. What are my signs going to be? Plus, plus, minus, minus, plus, minus. Remember, if you don't remember, you need to pause this, go to YouTube and hit up your sign rules. Type in trinomial sign rules. So where do I look first? I look here first. When the C is a minus, what are your signs? Always. plus minus. When the C is a minus, they're always plus minus. Now I need two numbers that multiply to get 12, and it's a plus and a minus, and they are going to subtract to get this invisible negative 1, x, y. So let's do my factors of 12 on the side. 1 times 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So there are your factors of 12. Remember, factors are whole numbers, never decimals for factors. So what are which one do I choose? This one, this pair here. Would it be a plus 3 minus 4 or a minus 3 plus 4? Well, I need them to add up to this, negative 1. So it wouldn't be this, it would be this right here. So plus 3 and a minus 4. Okay, guys, so when you do your homework, please remember that I want to see some work shown like I was showing on these examples here. Notice some of them require work. Now, like number 2 didn't, so that's obvious. But like when you hit up problems that have a GCF and then trinomial, multiple step problems, I need to see your work shown to receive full credit. Okay, guys, have a great day, and hit up the odds 1, 3, 5, 7, 9.